Hey guys, HardlyBriefDan here with episode 7 of our August Game of the Month series. This is the game Cannon Assault, and last time we got bullets firing out of our cannon. We started keeping track of how many bullets we fired, so we're starting to keep track of some game statistics like we had mentioned in the game design document. I'll go ahead and press play and kind of show you where we left off. I added some new artwork last time. I added four bullets you can see firing here. I added a new base, a new cannon, and I kept the same background and our ground's all the same. I kind of like the color. So last time we created the ability to hit the left mouse button and to fire bullets, and we set it up so it randomly chooses 1 out of 4. You can create as many as you want, but we have it set up in this version to choose randomly 1 through 4. The bullets come out at different speeds. You can set them to do different damage if you wanted. There's a lot of things you can do, and like I said, then we keep track of the count of how many we have fired. So that's fun. It's good. It's kind of good to see some progress going into the game. But there's still a problem, and the biggest problem is there's no enemies. You know, what are these bullets hitting? We're just firing randomly in the air and deleting them. So that's what we're going to work on today. We're going to start creating the enemy AI, or I don't know, there's not much enemy AI, but that's what we're going to call it. But first I'm going to show you 2 objects I created. They're going to be in the arts folder. You can download. It's in the link below the video to the Google Drive doc. And the first one is our big bomb. This is the big bomb that I created. It's going to be the nuke, if you will, the big kahuna. This is going to do like 20% damage. I don't really know how much yet, but this is going to be the major the major player. Now, I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Just wanted to show you that. The next thing is a helicopter. It's not complete yet. It's just there as a placeholder so I could do this video. I don't like it, but it doesn't really matter. It's just artwork. I mean, it matters, but we can change artwork later. The scripts was the bulk of it is what matters. The gameplay is what counts, right? That's the most fun. And sorry for the sirens in the back. Hopefully everyone's all right. We're going to go ahead and delete that. And like I said, we're going to start with the enemies today, and there's 2 flying enemy types. There's the plane and there's a helicopter. Okay, the plane is going to be the easiest in my opinion to get up and running, and that's because we're just going to be dropping bombs, right? We're going to drop a few bombs that are going to most likely hit the cannon. The helicopter is going to shoot bullets, and those bullets are going to be a little more tricky in my eyes because they're going to have to be aimed towards the cannon as it's flying through the air. So we're going to save that for probably... we're going to start both. We're going to jump into the bullet AI, if you will, later in another video. Probably the next video, actually. And that's going to be... we're going to be using some lerping and some vector math, basically, to get that done. But the first thing we're going to start out with is creating a folder in our prefabs folder, and we're going to call it enemies. We're going to go ahead and create another folder. We're going to call it plane, and then we're going to create a prefab called plane. Actually, I'm going to delete it. I don't want to call it. We're going to call it jet fighter. Just a little more descriptive, okay? So that I find that helps. I'm going to go ahead and drag this helicopter back in here because we're going to use that helicopter model as our plane model for now. I'm going to go ahead and make it a little smaller. I'm looking at it here, kind of the scale I want it, and I kind of like that. It's not bad. I'm going to go ahead and drag this model onto the jet fighter prefab. I'm going to go ahead and delete that prefab. And in our scripts folder, we're going to create in our play scene a enemies folder. And then we're going to create a jet fighter folder in our enemies folder. And then we're going to create a C# script, and we're going to call it jet fighter. And this jet fighter script is going to control the movement. Okay, it's going to control the movement. It's going to control where it gets deleted, where it spawns at, that kind of thing. And for testing purposes, just to get the game up and running, we're actually going to create a spawn point for where all these vehicles, or enemies if you will, are going to spawn all at once. But eventually we're going to make it random. Random within a certain range, so it adds some variability to the game. So like we did the firing point, we're going to go ahead and create an empty game object. I'm going to reset its position using this gear and hit reset back to 0, or the origin. I'm going to drag it off the screen to about, probably I'm going to set it to 11. And I'm going to drag it up. And I'm going to drag it up to, like, we'll say 4. Right? So it's off the screen. We're going to call it spawn point. And using tags, we're going to add a tag. And instead of firing point, we're going to call it spawn point. Pretty simple. We have the spawn point. This is where we're going to spawn all of our vehicles for now. So we're going to jump into our jet fighter script, which we open up in Model Develop. And if you remember, we have our cannon ammo script. This is going to be pretty much the same thing. We're going to have a speed on our jet fighter, so we're going to go ahead and make that a public variable. We're going to go public int. We're going to call it jet fighter speed. We're going to have a public int. This is where it's going to be a little tricky, or not tricky, excuse me, different. We're going to create a float, and it's going to be called our left limit. And we're going to create another public float, and it's going to be called our right limit. And this is where the object is going to be destroyed once it goes off screen. So our jet fighter, for example, is going to fly through our scene and drop a few bombs and then leave. Well, we don't want that jet fighter to fly on forever, just like we didn't want our bullets from our cannon to fly forever, because it's just wasting time. So let's say you have a 30-minute game, you're playing forever, 30 minutes. You're like, oh, wow, that's a long time. You're going to have all those bullets if we didn't delete them. We don't want them there. We want to get rid of them. So we're just like that. We want to get rid of the enemies. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that using the limits. We want a public int, and we're going to have a jet fighter health. This is how much health does it have. We don't have any damage numbers in the game yet, so we don't really need to worry about that. And then the next thing, we're going to leave it there for now. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab this transform, translate, and destroy object from our update function from our cannon ammo script, because it's basically the same. Instead of cannon ammo speed, we want jet fighter speed. Okay, instead of a vector 3 up, we're going to actually make it a vector 2, and it's going to go to the right. But since we're flying from the right to the left, it actually needs to go left, so we're going to make this negative. We're going to flip it. So it's going to be negative vector 2 dot right. And then instead of destroy height, we're going to actually do our limit. We're going to do the first one we're going to work on is our left limit. And so we're going to be looking at our x value, not our y. So we're going to go transform.position.x, and we're going to see if it's greater than our left side. If it's greater than our left side, we're actually going to let it move. So go ahead and copy that transform, delete, get rid of this object. Right. I'm going to we're not going to do that. We're going to do if it's, sorry. Go ahead and copy that. We're going to say if it's greater than, we're going to go ahead and paste it. So we're saying if our transform position, the x position, is greater than our left limit, so if it comes before our left limit, then we're going to go ahead and translate. We're going to move. And then else, I'm going to say else, we're going to destroy it. We don't want it. We'll get rid of it. So I'm going to grab this destroy object immediate. Going to go ahead and destroy it. Going to go ahead and grab all this. I'm going to shift tab. It's going to move it over because I want it a little bit better organized. There we go. Looks a little bit better. Control S to save. So I'm going to jump into Unity. We have the script now, but we need to attach it to our prefab. So go ahead and attach it. You can see we have our speed. I'm going to go ahead and set it to 15. 15 is pretty fast. We'll set it to 6. Health we'll set to 100. That doesn't matter. And for our left limit, we're going to set to negative 11. For our right limit, we're going to set to 11. Now you might be wondering why those are random, but they're not. If you remember, our spawn point is at 11 on the right hand side, and that's off screen. It's out of our placing. So I basically just chose the opposite, negative 11 and 11 for our limits. So now we have one issue. How do we instantiate this object? Well, we're actually going to be creating a game system script, if you will, and we're going to we might do that in the next video, depending on how far we get in this video. We might start working on that, and basically that's going to control damage being done. It's going to control when things are spawned, how long we've been playing, those sorts of things. And it's going to monitor your health. So, you know, if you get below 0 health, then you're dead. The game over. So we'll work on that at a different point. But for now, we need to test our AI. And so what we're going to do is in our cannon mouse control, we're actually going to create a new control. And if you see, I've actually already started it. It's because I was playing around and before I started recording. And what this if statement is saying is basically the same as our left mouse button, but instead of 0, I added a 1 here, which 1 is our right mouse button. So when we hit our right mouse button, we want to instantiate our helicopter. So I have this fly through heli, which I was playing around. I decided to do the jet fighter first. So we're going to go ahead and call it jet fighter. Control S to save. We're going to change... I created this private variable called transform variable called spawn point. I'm doing the same, finding the game object with the tag, and our tag this time is spawn point. Remember, we created that tag at the beginning of the video. Going to go down here. We're going to instantiate the object. So instantiate. We're going to instantiate the game object jet fighter, and then we're going to instantiate it at the spawn points position. So we're going to go spawn point dot position, then we're gonna go spawn point dot rotation, just like our cannon ammo up above. Basically the same, not 100% exact, but basically the same. So Control S to save, go back into Unity. We have our spawn point here. We have our jet fighter now. I'm gonna go ahead and press play, and hopefully we got an error. I'm gonna maximize. Let's see. Oh, on our cannon barrel, we need to add our jet fighter prefab. So go ahead and add it. Go ahead and press play. I'm going to hit add and null reference. We're getting a null reference. See where the issue's coming in. So jet fighter, which is here, is a game object, and spawn point. Let me make sure that tag is correct. Oh, see, I didn't tag the spawn point. So go ahead and tag it. Maybe you caught that. I just didn't do it. So go ahead and press play. There we go. We got a helicopter, or jet fighter in this case. It's flying. I like it. It's flying pretty fast. It looks good to me. I like the speed. So we have something moving. We actually have it going. It's working. You can see it on screen here. It instantiates. You can watch it get destroyed. Bam, gone. So you can make 100 of them. I didn't make that many, but you can watch them all disappear. So we're not wasting excess memory and stuff on objects you can't see, because we don't need to do that. So what's next? Well, we need to add bombs. So we're going to go ahead and create a new prefab. Not a C# script. Oh, shoot, I opened it up. Go ahead and if you did that too, go ahead and delete it. We're going to delete that script because we don't need it. We're going to go ahead and create a prefab. We're going to call it jet fighter ammo. We are going to use this red missile here. I'm going to go ahead and drag it to our play objects sorting layer. I'm going to make it pretty tiny. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it. I set it to 0090. I'm going to set it to 0.3 and 0.3. 0.2. And that's the scale of it. It's pretty tiny, but that's alright. It doesn't need to be huge. So we are going to drag that onto a jet fighter ammo. Now, I'm going to leave the jet fighter ammo alone for now. We're going to jump back into the jet fighter script that we created. And basically what we need to do is look for our target's, our position over a few points, because this is when we're going to instantiate object. And the way we're going to do this is not the best way, but it's a way just to get a game running, That's the goal of this. It doesn't need to be super refactored, super perfect, But for the most part, you know, we want to keep it simple. We want to get to running. We want to have fun. So what we're going to do is a certain point here. I'm actually going to use a game object to now just to show you. So create an empty game object. See this? We got it right here. And I'm looking to see, we want to start dropping bombs probably like right here, which if you look over here, it's at 2.6. So it's like a 2.5. We'll do 2. But 3. So 3 and -3. Okay. So now you're like wondering, what are you doing here? Well, the idea is we're gonna say once our transforms position dot x is between 3 and -3, we're gonna go ahead and instantiate some bombs. Pretty simple. So we don't need that game object. You can go ahead and delete it. We're going to go into model develop, and we're going to create the if statement. So we're going to go if transform dot position dot x is less than or equal to 3 and double and ampersands. You can go and transform dot position dot x is greater than or equal to -3. We're going to instantiate bombs. So right away we need to create a public game object. Game object. We'll call it jet fighter ammo. And this is where we're going to call our instantiate function. So we'll go instantiate jet fighter ammo. We're going to do it at the transforms dot position, and then we'll do transform dot rotation. Okay, so here you go. You look. Now we're going to be instantiating hundreds and hundreds of bombs. Which we don't want either, but this is simple basic. We're gonna be instantiating bombs right here, and they're just gonna be on the screen. So we're gonna go ahead and control S to save. Go into Unity. Go onto our jet fighter prefab down here, and now you'll see this jet fighter ammo empty game object where you can place one. So go ahead and grab the fighter ammo, put it there, drag and drop. Go ahead and press play, and ooh. What is happening? We're getting an error for some reason. It's deleting it extremely fast, and that's probably, let's see. We didn't have that issue before, so I'm going to go ahead and comment this out. I'm not sure what's going on right now, so we'll go ahead and figure it out. We'll have a little debugging moment here. So comment out the if statement we just created because obviously there's something wrong. Going to go ahead and press play, and we still got the helicopter coming. So there's an issue with that if statement. So I'm going to go ahead and look at it. We're saying if our transforms position is, we'll go, actually let's comment out the instantiate. Maybe that's causing the issue. We'll go ahead and press play. So for some reason it's deleting itself. Here we go. So basically it's skipping both of these and just going down the else statement and immediately deleting itself. So what we're going to do, and that's because I put this else statement below. I put a new if statement above that else statement, and that else statement is actually supposed to be attached to this if statement up here. So go ahead and control us to save that. Move it, control us, and that should work. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and undo this instantiate because we want that. I'm going to go ahead, control us to save, jump back into Unity. There we go. It's dropping bombs. You see it dropped it in that range. You can see it created, I don't know, 100 of them, which is not what we want at all. Let's see, actually we got an error. Wonder why it did that. I'm gonna go ahead and see when that comes. Okay, so that we'll worry about that error later. It's simple to fix, but I don't want to mess with that right now because we're trying to get the bombs to work. So we got bombs. They're in the scene. They're there. They're not falling. And the way we got ammo to move was we got it to move based on this transform translate. So that's what we're going to do now. So what we want to do is go ahead and go into Unity, and we're going to create a jet ammo script. So we're going to create a new C# script, and we're going to call it jet fighter ammo. Pretty simple. Open that up and mono develop. Go ahead and drag it to the jet fighter ammo prefab that we created too, because why not? We're here. Now we're going to copy and paste this ammo speed and destroy height from our cannon, because we're going to be using the same thing. We're just going to change it. So we're going to call this jet fighter ammo, and then we're going to call it, we'll keep destroy height because it's going to be the same. We're going to go ahead and grab this transform function and if statement. Destroy height now is going to be less than that though. Or actually it's going to be greater than, sorry, yeah, it'll be less than, and destroy height, it's going to be a negative value, so we'll say negative 11, just because basically we set the scene originally to the origin, so it's set, the middle of the scene set is 0, 0, and below that is where we want to delete the object. We'll definitely change that though. That's why we're going to keep it public, because I want to see where it's getting deleted. Now go ahead and replace this cannon ammo speed with the jet fighter ammo speed. Controls to save. I'm going to jump into Unity. Make sure that you have attached the jet fighter ammo script to it. I'm going to set the speed to 5. And we're going to go press play. I'm going to right click, we'll see what happens. It's going up. And the reason why it's going up is because we set it to vector 3 dot up. So we're going to set it to vector 2 dot up. And I hit insert by accident. So go up. And that's still going to make it fly up. So we're going to make it negative just like we... yeah, going to make it negative to make the bombs drop. Right? So go ahead and press play. Boom, we got bombs. We got a ton of them. And they're being deleted at a very too low. We wanted to delete it right around the ground. So a couple things we could do is we could tag this ground as ground. But for now we're just going to adjust its where is it? We're going to adjust the height at which it gets destroyed. But what we'll do in the future, because we want to add sound effect, is when it hits the ground. So we'll go ahead and adjust this like negative 5. That might be good. It's pretty close. Negative 5 isn't exactly what we'll do. Negative 4 for now. But basically, now we got some bombs in here. We got bombs dropping. It's in a perfectly exact line, which we don't want. We want to drop a few bombs. And that's where we're going to do that, and then we're going to leave off from there. So in our jet fighter script, we're going to create a public variable, and we're going to call it public int, and it's going to be ammo amount. And we're making it public so that you guys can edit it. And what we're going to do is encapsulate this or add to this function here, this if statement. And we're going to say if we're between 3 and negative 3 and our ammo amount is greater than 0, then we're going to fire, right? And every time it fires, we want to subtract ammo amount. So you go ammo amount minus minus, and basically that subtracts 1 ammo from ammo amount every time the update function runs. So every time this runs, it's going to subtract 1 from ammo. And as soon as we get not greater than, but less than 0, less than or equal to 0, we're going to stop doing that. We don't want it to run anymore. So, going to go ahead and control S to save. Going to jump back into Unity. We should see on our jet fighter script we have an ammo amount. I'm going to set it to 5 for now. Going to go ahead and press play. And you should see it drop 0 bombs. Okay, so what's the issue? It was greater than. I don't know why I was thinking that, but it is greater than. Greater than or equal to 0? Or actually, as long as it's greater than 0, we want to be dropping bombs. So I was right the first time, not less than and equal to. Maybe you guys caught that. If you did, that's awesome. So go ahead and make sure it's and ammo is greater than 0. Control S to save. Jump back into Unity. We're going to go ahead and press play. And we're dropping 5 bombs. It missed, but you know, it's okay. It's not going to be perfect. What you can do is actually adjust these limits. Go ahead and make it 2 and 2, negative 2 and 2. Control S to save. Gonna go ahead and right click. We got a plane coming, dropping bombs. Boom, they hit. Okay. So, not perfect at all. But we're getting a core down, you know, we're getting some basic gameplay where we can't interact with it yet, but it's dropping bombs on us. So it's a perfect spot to expand from. And so the next thing that we're going to really want to do with this is kind of space out those bombs, kind of add some randomness to it. So instead of it always dropping at that one spot, we want to maybe go a little back from it, a little forward from it, you know, and that's where we're going to use a random dot range. We're going to play around with that a little bit, and then we're going to space out the how often we instantiate. So maybe we'll have a little timer, you know, run it half a second. Every half a second we drop one or something. I don't know. We can play around with it. But we're going to save that for the next video or next couple videos. Hopefully you guys learned something today. Hopefully you enjoyed the tutorial so far. Please like, subscribe, and comment. It's amazing how many subscribers I got so far. It's blowing my mind. Super excited. So keep sharing, keep telling your friends. And I'll talk to you guys next time.